welcome to this episode of It's Our House podcast. You've got me, Faz, we've got Stuart Lawson. I'm not allowed to call him Stu anymore because his wife's a bit of a asshole. How are you, buddy? You're all right?
I'm good. The perfect you call my wife an arsehole.
No, I didn't.
I'm happy because the clock's back. I'm happy because the clock's back this week. That's a positive.
Yeah, we haven't got we haven't got Chris with us this week. However, we do have a comedian, ICW commentator, and Scottish wrestling sweetheart, Billy fucking Kirkwood. How are you?
Hey, I don't know about the fact you call his wife a fucking arsehole.
We're all family here.
I don't know. I saw the look at his face like, I'm going to let that go, even though she is. I saw that in Stuart's face. It's like, well, at times she can be, but that's for me to call her an arsehole.
I'll bleep it out. You won't even know what's been said.
Oh, that'll be worse, man. That might be like...
You've called you something we can't call it on YouTube.
Oh my God, I can't believe you dropped a C-bomb that early. What the fuck?
I know.
10:30.
Past it. Listen, if it's the Lord's Day, he invented the word. Let's fucking go for it. I'm not religious. I've made that weirder than I expected it to.
I know we've been banned on YouTube for 4 different reasons now.
Really?
No.
I was about to say, did someone get their dick out and windmill it or something? We can't have that, lads. We can't.
That's why Chris isn't on this week.
Oh, right. Chris is banned. He's got it by his dick knot and he's just whipping it around. Here's the time. So, hello. It's like, never mind. It's like, I have had too many coffees this morning, man. It's only fucking 10:30. This is crazy. It's a delight to be here, lads. Lovely, delighted. It's amazing. It's nice. It's cool.
Cheers, Billy. You've had a list of the questions, but hopefully we can, go into some stories that we told just before the podcast and after.
You'll have to help me remember what they were.
All I'm going
to say is there was 5 minutes of absolute fucking gold that you guys missed. It was fucking incredible. Incredible.
It was. So, Billy, if you want to start, could you tell us your first memories about wrestling when you were a kid?
Oh, Jesus, man. Like, I'm an old cunt. Like, excuse the language. I'm an old arsehole.
There you go. We're all assholes here.
Especially my wife.
Do you remember when fucking Mr. Anderson had that I'm an asshole gimmick? I always thought, you're a fucking loser. I always thought, what terrible gimmick name. Even though I've met him and he's a lovely dude, I was always like, man, I don't know if that's going to get over the way you think it is.
That did it?
No,
Getting on a downhill from there.
I think he should have shown a lot more t-shirts, but in saying that, he's fucking amazing. What is my earliest memory? Well, I'm old, man. I'm old. I'm old, so like I'm old enough to remember the tail end of British wrestling on the TV. Like I remember watching it like Saturday after. It could have been repeats for all I know. You know what you're like. You remember his shite when you're a kid. I think like, and the days are so long. I remember watching a little bit of Big Daddy and a little bit of Fit Finlay and stuff like that with a big, with his wife that had the big Indian, remember Native American Indian headdress? It was like this big thing. So that's kind of like my first memory, even though I liked wrestling. I think I wasn't really that into wrestling. I think from that point of view, I just didn't know really what it was, and it was the British stuff, and it was sport on the telly. It's like, oh, this should be cartoons. Even though I'm a huge fan of that era now, you know what I mean? It's just you're a kid, you don't understand it. So my first memories would be at primary school, and when we started like WWF tapes started kicking about, when Sky started showing wrestling, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, somebody handed me a tape of WrestleMania 3. I remember, and just thinking, oh my god, and I don't like because. Have been on like WrestleMania 6, 7 by that point. I was, we were a wee bit behind here in the UK, and I remember watching this and thinking, what the fuck? Just the spectacle of it, it just like huge, like King Kong Bundy elbow dropping a midget in the middle of the ring. And I just thought, oh my god, that's incredible. And you would hear that stupid stuff at school, like, oh no, the American stuff's the real stuff. American stuff's the real stuff, mate. I'm telling you that. They're murdering each other in there, fucking murdering each other. And you were like, oh my, but you're a wee guy, so you're like, oh my God, that sounds fucking amazing.
I always remember, I remember when I was at school, remember when The Undertaker kidnapped Steph McMahon?
Oh, yeah. I had all kind of feelings about that. Oh my God, when she was tied up to that cross thing, that's disgusting.
I got told that The Undertaker genuinely got kidnapped her and got arrested for it. And I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, because the American is real. You're like, no.
There's some amount of shite. Like, the Ultimate Warrior was killed by a shark. You know,
Yokozuna died in the casket because they scared of snakes. That's what I got told.
All right, I was told it was a spider. What was it? What was the other one, man? That always kicked around. The Ultimate Warrior. It's Kerry Von Erich. it's Kerry Von Erich in makeup. His foot grew back and all that type of stuff. Just lead to such shit, and that's kind of where it was, man. It was the beginning of like a journey. You start finding pals at school that are into wrestling, and from then on, that was it. Like, I just ingested everybody. Like, the local video store here, Global Video, would have been, you could rent a wrestling tape for like 50p. And you would literally pick them up and like, how long is this? How long is this video? Oh, that's 3 hours, fucking yes. That's the one I'm doing. So it'd be like, and then you would see things like, hang on. Sid Justice wrestled somewhere else? Fucking yes. And then you see like Sting, and you would see people you recognize, and you're like, oh my God. And just, that was it, man. Just like constantly. The likes of the local video stores was really where my kind of education in wrestling. Then you would see like wrestling magazines, and you'd start just like, honestly, and I never grew out of it, man. Like, I wrote my dissertation about fucking wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Right? I just really just inject, because it was such a, see, I don't know if it was like the age, but because wrestling kind of grows up with you a wee bit, depending. I don't know if it's the same now, but like, my dissertation was pro wrestling as a critique of American culture. And it's literally, you can watch like what was popular in the charts would be popular in wrestling, particularly during like the Attitude Era, you know, and it would influence your music taste. It would influence every, you know, and that was kind of it, man. That was even looks, even the way guys look. If like it's considered to be fashionable, pro wrestlers, you guarantee, even will fucking adapt that look and will, you know, take it to the ring. Look at Seth Rollins with his man bun. Do you know what I mean? He's like, I'm on wearing that. And that's kind of where it started, man. And, you know, you'd buy things like Power Slam or Superstars of Wrestling, and you'd hear about ECW and FMW. You know, you're like, you're in your mid-teens, you're like, oh my God, there's blood and all that. Fucking yes. I'm so hardcore. My mates don't know. You know, and you would just ingest everything, man. And I just, that's kind of where it started for me. Would be like those early days. So I think the first American wrestling match I probably ever actually saw was like Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter or something like that. You know,
WrestleMania 7. That was mine. That was my very first review. Was WrestleMania 7. I remember I had it on VHS. I was at my granddad's, and I used to watch it on a loop. Like, it literally, Hulk Hogan would win, then let's rewind it, and it would be back to Rockers, and that it was just constantly. I love that.
It's actually, do you know, I don't know what everyone else thinks. Maybe you see things through like rose tinted glasses and that, but the first ever that WrestleMania 7 seemed fucking amazing to me. like Warrior versus Macho Man, fucking like you say, the Rockers versus, is it the Barbarian and the Warlord? It was.
I mean, I had Rick Martel against Jake the Snake in a blindfold match.
Hi, man, I had everything. That year was actually amazing for wrestling, because like I watched that in SummerSlam 91, and I remember thinking SummerSlam 91 was amazing because everybody I wanted won during like the first 10 matches. Like, I think Virgil won the $1 million belt, and the Rocker, was it the Rockers? No, it was the British Bulldog, Kerry Von Erich, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat beat Power and Glory and the Warlord, and LOD won the tag team titles in a street fight. Oh my God, there's no rules. Just that type of stuff, man. Those are the ones that, and I would honestly see that SummerSlam 91. I kept renting it again and again and again and again and again until I think finally they just went, just fucking game the tape. And then
he spent 60 quid on it.
Yeah, and then Azad Video, then Azad Video opened, and I think they were selling WCW tapes for like $2.99. Clearly they were meant to be dearer, and my mum basically just came in with 60 quid one day and went, he'll take one of each. he'll take one of each, and so that was me, man. That was me.
Cool, man, cool. So normally what we do is we ask the guest how you got into wrestling, but I think it's more important how you got into comedy, because that is really your main trade.
Yeah.
As much as into wrestling. So what was it? Because you've done a lot of stuff within the comedy scene, but what is it that really got you into it?
Oh man, like I've loved comedy as long as wrestling. Just it's what kind of bonded my family growing up. We're like me and my three brothers, me and my two brothers, I should say, we're very different cats, man. We're very, very different people, but the one common ground we had was a love of comedy. And they're older than me. Like my brother Jason's 6-7 years older than me. My brother Dale's 10 years older than me. So my tastes were a wee bit older than that. And I always wanted to get into comedy. And the thing is, man, you're not meant to when you're just a wee guy from the West Coast. You're meant to have like 2.5 kids. You're meant to get a job in a factory, and that's it. You're meant to go to the pub on a Saturday night and watch a football. That's it. That's all you're meant to do. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I went to like art college and stuff like that, but I never got away from performing. I think I got into drama and I did a bit of acting and ran a video production company, and I'd always wanted to do it. And and it's funny because you never know who your guy is, like who everyone, any Scottish comedian that turns around and says they haven't been influenced by Billy Connolly in some way is a fucking liar. I'll say that to them right now 100%. If anybody's watching. No, I think I'll find out that I'm more influenced by Tig Notaro, and that's where all mine come from. It's like there's nothing wrong with that, but Billy Connolly is what got you there, so shut the fuck up and sit down. Right. My guy was Robin Williams, right? Because Robin Williams, Live at New York Met, is still is the perfect stand-up special. I think, and it took me a good while before I actually figured that out, but I'd watched it like on we taped it off the telly back in the day when you tape shit off the telly, and I must have watched it on repeat and on repeat and on repeat and repeat. Even watched it long before I ever picked up a microphone, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to take a chance. My better half, and this is truly how I got into comedy. I went, I'm going to give it a go. My better half knew a friend that had done a stand-up class, and in her own words, she wasn't funny. But I was. Yeah, she was an asshole, man. She was an asshole.
That's coming a theme here, eh?
Married the guy from Edinburgh. Don't know what happened. But she went, what it was a class, and I didn't know how to get into stand-up because you don't. It's not like it's funny. I was talking to a fellow called Gavin Mitchell, who was Bobby the barman in Still Game, probably best known here. And he's been an actor for like 30 years, and he's talking like back in the day where like before the internet, it's like if you wanted to find out information, you either had to know someone or you had to like send a letter in order to get like a prospectus, even to go like to college or uni. And even then, if you sent a letter, they went, "Oh, this fucker's kidding," right? And you come. That used to be how it was. But I didn't know how to go about it, and I heard about this course, and I went, "Oh fuck, well that'll be interesting. Got something different to do." And I just pretty much decided that I was going to stop running this theatre production company that I ran at the time. I sort of just went, I've had enough of this, because like I was producing, directing, doing the publicity, taking roles. It was just like I was doing everything, and then people would turn up and go, "Oh, you know, it'd be good if I had a couple more scenes," and you were kind of like, "Wayne, fuck yourself with a rusty toothbrush." You know what I mean? Yeah, honest to fuck, man. So what happened was as I did this course, and it was run by a lady called Viv G over here, who's like the godmother of Scottish comedy. She really is. So many amazing acts have gone through her course, and one of the main reasons I did it is because there was a gig at the end. There was like a gig at the end. You did 5 minutes and like a showcase thing. And I was kind of like, you know something, let's fucking do that. Hook by crook, I've done it. And I'll tell you this now, I was awake for fucking weeks. I couldn't sleep. And the idea of getting out and going, oh my God. And my first set was fucking tragic. I keep saying I'm going to do a watch along, but the gig went well. But my first set was so fucking weird, and I'm a weirdo at best of times. But it was about these cows. Oh man, these cows, and what they did is they got celebrity skins. They bought celebrity skins from eBay, and they were going to use them to like take over the world. And then right at the end. And then right at the end is like a tromboning joke, which is like a dirty joke about, you know, blowing someone in the arsehole while you're reaching around and giving them. Anyway, it's completely out of context, you know. It's just like, I've watched it since, and I'll be like, the fuck was I doing?
Gold. Absolute gold.
But they loved it.
That's the trombone.
I must the trombone, you know what I mean? You know exactly what it is. But right at the end of it, right at the end of it, it's like there's this random trombone. and the set went really well. And you make and then a guy at the gig offered me a gig the following night at the Tartan Rose in Paisley. I remember thinking, I've arrived. This is it. I've arrived. And then I made every fucking mistake you can make for that gig the following night. I'll write a whole new set. I'll not practice it. I'll be fine. I died of my fucking arse. I died of my fucking arse. But it was great because
Paisley, of all places.
In Paisley, and it brought me back down to earth. Going, oh, this is hard, man. This is hard. Oh, I want this, and I want to do this. And it wasn't like a career plan. Like you get people getting into comedies, you're into wrestling and podcasting and filmmaking and anything these days. They've got like their 5-year plan. I didn't have a 5-year plan. I wish I had actually. But I was more like, this would be a fun hobby to do. This would be a fun hobby to do. It wasn't about making money or making a living at it. Oh, that'd be the dream. That's like pie in the sky. But I think I'll work hard and I'll enjoy this. And I was very lucky. And within about 2 years, I had the opportunity to go full time. The diary was getting busy. I'd got some writing gigs for kids TV, and I was doing some stuff for kids TV, which a lot of people don't know about in the wrestling world. But I mean, I've got a children's BAFTA.
Wow.
Yeah, which and that led to going into that side of things. Even though I knew that'd be something at best I'd be in and out of. And that was it, man. It was kind of like, fuck it. The bills were paid. I kept saying this to people when I've always been my attitude. Like I looked at right, this is the money I've got coming in. This is this is the next 6 months. I can afford to give this a go for 6 months. And if it means that I've got to get a job at the end of it, I get a job at the end of it. And that's fine. Yeah. And I was very, very lucky. That was 12 years ago that I made that decision. And here we are now with the world ending. Here we are now with the world ending. I'll be honest with you, I thought I'd fuck up and that would end the run. I didn't think it'd be some fucking cunt eating a bowl of bat soup or some shit.
So,
started to bring it right down there at the end, man.
Going back
you peaked at the BAFTA and they just ruined it there after that.
Should have cut it there. Just cut it there.
That's
well, that was Billy Kirkwood.
That's what I wanted to talk about, actually, since you brought that up. What was the children's BAFTA for?
It was for a show called, I have to get this right, it was a show called Heads that we did. Right. It's not exactly high art, but I thought it was good. It was great to work on. It was quite funny because I got hired. I got hired to be a writer on it, along with a guy that I used to write with, Austin Lowe, and then I got hired as. Do you know the thing is the BBC came to see me do stand up, and apparently there was like one
children's show.
Yeah, but that's how they do things, man. That's how it was mental. And apparently I made one joke that they went, this guy, and I've absolutely no idea what the joke is to this day. I wish I do. I like absolutely no idea, and I'm still in touch with guys that worked in the production. I must ask them one day, like, do you ever remember what the joke was? And what happened was, we did a show called Heads, and the concept of it was kind of like a cross between like Bull Selecta and Spitting Image, and what it was is these giant celebrity heads. Right, flat celebrity heads on human bodies, and they would act out sketches. So, like, Robbie Williams would always turn up dressed as an angel and would fuck situations up. And Arnold Schwarzenegger had a video show. Like, I remember, like, see, actually being in the writers' room and pitching ideas, that was so much fucking fun. Even though you would spend you'd spend like half the day roaring and laughing about something, and then somebody would come in from a legal department and go, "We can't do that. we absolutely cannot do that." Oh, bastard. And I remember, like, I was in charge of writing sketches for it, but it was so weird. Like, well, I'll tell you a couple of other concepts. There was like Arnie's Vids, where the concept was Arnold Schwarzenegger ran a video shop, and celebrities would come in to try and rent their film, but he would just push his films on them. Like, that was the concept of it. So but then you had weird shit, and it just shows you how TV works. Like, again, working in TV and radio now, I've learned so much. Like there's so many levels of communications. I can only think of what it's like in places like WWE, these huge, giant, scrolling corporations, But like, I remember we wrote a series. We'd have like these Bibles, and we wrote sketches for Ant and Dec, I remember them, could you come up with a catchphrase for Ant and Deck? And it was like, yeah, sure. And then like 10 minutes later, the phone rang and went, right, we've got one. It's like, no deck, no. And we had to write 40 sketches that ended with that. Oh, by the way, if you could make sure that basically you don't spend any budget, and could you set them all in a forest? What? It's like, right, okay, fair enough. Arnie's vid seems like fucking, you know, like Dances with Wolves now. But I loved it, man. I loved the challenge of it, and even then it was cool. But then, but here's an example of something like we celebrities came in all the time. Like David Tennant came. Oh yeah, we fucking right. David Tennant was Doctor Who at the time, right? Yeah. And every episode we'd have to be a joke in about a play on Doctor Who, and it'd be like Doctor Pooh, to all this type of stuff. It would inevitably end up in the toilet, but like kids love it. I remember a guy at the BBC going, "Kids love this shit. Just more of this, more of this." And it's like, okay, well, it's an education in kids TV. Do you know what I mean? Kids love repetition. More of this, more of this. Right? Ant and Deck stuff, looking great, boys. And you're like, oh, fuck, that's great. You know, it's good to learn these things. But I remember we doing Arnie's vids, and we had Ewan McGregor coming in. So we went, Star Wars. We're going to load, because Star Wars was huge at the time, particularly with Ewan in it. And we'll load this with Star Wars jokes. Load this with Star Wars jokes. Then a guy who it turned out was actually on his way at the production, we didn't know this at the time, said to us, going, can he have any Star Wars jokes? George Lucas will sue the pants off us. Like, because George Lucas is going to be watching fucking BBC Kids TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get all these jokes to fuck. We need something else. So we're like, right, okay. Well, he's doing the motorbikes things with Charlie Boorman. We'll fill it for bike jokes and stuff like that. There you go. Then we get an email back from like the head series producer down in London, who basically went, yeah, sketch is good, but where are all the Star Wars jokes? And we were like, we were told we wouldn't have Star Wars jokes in it. And then we sent her the script literally like a minute and a half later going, well, here's the sketch we wrote. We were told we want to do it. And then literally just one line back going, Mr. Ba 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 will no longer be involved with this production. And it's like, shit, did we just get this guy fired? Did we just get this guy fired? And it just turned out like this guy was just, I don't know, he was on some, I don't know what the deal was. Maybe he had other shit going on. I don't think we did get him fired. If you were watching, clearly we didn't get you fired. But then I did that, and then I did a show called Stakeout, which was like a hidden camera thing, which was a lot more different, man. I was on screen for a start, and I'm like, oh fuck. But again, it was another like, oh brilliant, that means I've got a lot more money that I can keep going a little longer. And then, like I said, the diary started getting busy, and that was that, man. Occasionally I dipped in. I did a show called School of Silence, where I was a mad German professor with a psychotic German glove puppet. I've done a couple other things, Incredible Edibles, Robot Wars, stuff like that. So, that's kind of, more of those would be cracking.
It was, yeah, especially for the bank account.
Yeah, oh god, Robot Wars wasn't, man. Long days. That's all I'm gonna say. Warming up a crowd of people that just want to see robots smashing things. I can assure you.
That was a Craig Charles Robot Wars.
Sorry, that again, mate?
That was a Craig Charles Robot Wars where he would do the commentary.
No, man, that was the most recent series with I forget that lady's name. Angela Scallon and Daryl Brain. So the most recent ones, they did two, and I think it got pulled though. I think it's been. In fact, I know it's been pulled.
I used to love that program.
Well, all I can say is it's quite funny to stand and talk to the guys that are involved in the production, because they were going like, because it's like a big Persplex arena now. Like, you think Hell in a Cell is impressive? It's like a big like top, really like bulletproof. Bullets can't get through this stuff. And then you go back and you see the old series of like Jeremy Clarkson just stunning there, and you're like, oh, how did he not die? Not die? Oh my god! Like people sitting right up next to it, like, oh,
yeah, like this.
Like, a bit kind of came off, because like I remember there was one day like a bit came off a robot and embedded itself in this impenetrable glass, and everyone is like going,
yeah, coat on.
Oh my god! And 10 minutes after, I've just went, don't worry, nothing can get through this glass. And all you feel is a sea of heads going. Mate, I just work here. I'm just doing what they tell me. I'm here to warm up you guys with some family friendly banter, and you know, give his fucking foam fingers and do the red button stuff. I go, so why do you think you lost? Is it because you're robot shite? You know, and honestly, some of the guys that made the robots were fucking weirdos. Like, you talk about, like, they could be weirdos in wrestling. Some of them fucking proper fucking weirdos. I don't mind saying, and some of them were solid as fuck. Some of them were, like, so nice. I remember watching a guy with 2 PhDs scream at a robot, "Just work, you big metal cunt!" Like, yes, yes. Bring this bastard down to earth. Yes.
I love it. I love it. So moving on from that, how did you get involved with ICW?
All right. Do you know it's a short story, I guess. My friend Neil Bratchpiece, who you guys know is a comedian, writer, and is better known as the Wee Man in ICW. I'd known about ICW beforehand because there was an over 18s wrestling product starting in Glasgow. And I got to go and see him because he had been asked to do a show because he had a viral video which everyone loved, and ICW's always been really good at jumping on pop culture stuff like that, particularly when it's regional and going like, we're going to get that and we're going to make that a bigger thing. So they got Wee Man in to be, I think it was a manager, or maybe he was coming in to do like a live appearance. So I went to see him, and I think the problem was initially ICW would do Fridays and Saturdays, which is an out for me because I'm gigging. But this show, I can't remember, maybe I had a gig locally or maybe I wasn't on until really late, but I was going to be able to make the show. So I went to see the show and I thought it was great. And not long after that, me and Neil started doing a short-lived wrestling podcast together, which then turned into a radio show. But it was short-lived, and literally in the car on one of those trips driving him home, he goes, "Oh, fuck, man, the guy that was originally meant to be doing the guest ring announcer," because ICW had comedian guest ring announcers and doing stuff, but none of them had really been wrestling fans. Not to really take any, they just be like, "Oh, brilliant, a gig, oh, fucking fantastic," you know. And they went, when we get like a comedian in Glasgow, and he pulled out, so he went, "I don't suppose you're free," and I was like, "Are you fucking joking? I'd love to." So I turned up, met Dallas, and I knew actually a couple of people there, you know, just casually. I knew like Jester's Valley at the time, Lolly, I knew her, and I knew a couple other people, and they were really nice. Mark was great, just taught me through everything. You went, I do remember going, "Do you watch wrestling?" It's like, "Oh, mate, I am fucking obsessed." You know, you tell me what I need to do and I'm into it. And so basically my job was to be guest ring announcer for the night, or for half the night anyway, because I was going to get thrown off, I think, by the Bucky Boys and the Wee Man. They were going to chase me away. But the plan is I was meant to turn heel, right? I was meant to be heel. And what happened was I hit the ring, and the ring announcer that was there at the time, I told him to get to fuck. You get to fuck. And then I didn't realize that he wasn't that massively, well, I think they kind of loved to hate him in a lot of ways. So I said, "Get to fuck," and then literally 300 people started chanting, "Get to fuck" again. And then, but the thing is, Dallas had been like, "Go out, you know, warm up the crowd, do what you do." So literally I just started making wrestling jokes. I just started making some jokes, and it connected, because like I remember the guys that worked behind the cameras at the time were kind of like, "Oh, this guy actually knows what he's talking about." You know, he's like jokes that only wrestling fans would get. And my instruction was that I was then to start ripping on the crowd. And I was ready, man. I had like fucking locked and loaded. I'd even picked who I was going to start with. I was going to make that bastard cry. Or, as is probably more likely, people would have laughed. I think in the ICW, I think they probably would have laughed. And just as I'm about to, there was a miscue and a video started playing. So the heel turn never came.
Face forever.
So the heel turn never came. And then I just was the ring announcer for the rest of the night, until I got chased away. And I loved it, man. I thought it was great. But the thing that got me was, even from that first show that I went and saw in Maryhill to that show, the Classic Grand, it was like night, and you could see how it was building, how it was getting better, how, you know, how just like, Nobody's just treating this like a casual wee booking. Nobody's like, everyone is putting fucking everything into it, and the fire of our over 18s ICW crowd is just incredible. Over 18s, an ICW crowd is just like, they were fired up and it was contagious. And it was like, oh man, I'd love to come back. And they were like, oh, we'll see what we can work out. And I think I came back as the Gold Label's official ring announcer for like the following show, where again I was meant to be a heel, but I came out in a wee gold hat. And I think I oversold it as being funny, and it was like, I sold out, mate, woo! And like, and then I don't actually. Oh, I got hit with a cane. That's right, I got hit with a cane. I hit with a cane at the end of the show. Boof! And I sold it, man. I remember I made sure to loosen the laces on my shoe, so when I got hit, I was going to make sure my shoe flew off. And bless it, the guys that were involved in that bit looked after me. Like, they could have like beat the shit out of me, but they looked after me, and they were so nice. Everyone was amazing. Like, really a novice in the wrestling business. I mean, I had miles in the entertainment industry, but I was, a novice in the wrestling business, and they really looked after me. And on the back of that, Dallas went, do you want to come back as like a ring announcer? We want to make you a ring announcer, and warming up the show. I loved all that. I thought that was great. I was like, cool, man. Yeah, I'd love to. And I think I probably would be better in that role of a turned face, so to speak. So the next show, it was back to gags and that type of thing. It was all gravy. And then off the back of that, ICW started doing a TV show from my channel. And they said, would you be our color commentator? And I'd fucking love to. But it probably means I'm going to have to give up being ring announcer, because that's going to look like there's some of those early My Channel shows where you literally hear me going, that ring announcer's a hamster bastard. Because I'm in the ring. Because it was pre-recorded. Actually, a good-looking boy, good-looking boy. And that was that, man. Like, without any real, it was such a big turnaround. And then someone else came in as ring announcer, and that was it. I was color guy, and then I ended up having this weird tweener kind of thing that I do now. And that's it, man. That's kind of how my introduction to ICW was. I think the fact that I came in and treated it with respect and was willing to put in the hard work. I wasn't expecting anything to get handed to me. I didn't take anything for fucking granted for a start, which I think in any job people can get guilty of. And just treating everything with as much respect as I can give it. I'm sure I put my foot in it, and but then sometimes other people can just take the huff of you, and you didn't do anything wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't, but so the reason I'm saying that, in case there's any wrestlers watching and going, get him, he thinks he's the model fucking pupil. No, I'm sure I'm not. But when it comes to work, I take it very, very seriously.
Yeah. Have you ever done any in-ring work? Like training?
Say that again, mate?
Have you done any in-ring training?
Very briefly, yeah. When GPWA opened here in Glasgow, I signed up. But I had no interest, none, of doing anything in the ring. Still don't to this day. I mean, if Dallas or if Scott or someone, if they came to me and they went, we need you to do this, it would have to be like, if you're asking me, I'll do it. If it were like an angle or something like that. But it's like, this will be the one shot. It really will have to mean something. Because I don't necessarily think commentators should be involved in the storyline. I just don't. I just don't. And it's that way. It's like it would change everything. But I did training for the simple reason of putting my money where my mouth is. It's like, how can I sit at ringside and not know? So I went and I did the induction course. I couldn't complete it actually for two reasons. I broke a rib. I actually ended up breaking a rib, which was nothing to do with the wrestling training. Believe it or not. I went abseiling, and then I had a gig on what would have been my final day of it. I was away gigging in Manchester or something, and I went, I just fucked up calculating it. It's like, oh fuck, it's 8 weeks. February's a short month. I fucked this up. But in all fairness to the guys at the school, they went, you're not terrible. You're all right. I mean, if you wanted to come in and do other classes, or keep this going, you could. But the thing was, I just have no interest in getting in a wrestling ring and do it. Yeah. If you're not doing a match, why bother?
Yeah.
And I think everyone that should get in a wrestling ring, unless you're wanting to be a manager and take bumps or something else, I wouldn't want to waste anyone's time. And I wouldn't like the idea of people going, Oh, you training for a match? It's like, no. Because you know there would be some arsehole somewhere that would probably go, I want to book you. I hear you're trained now. I want to book you for a match. And maybe my ego would get the better of me. Oh, yeah, fucking let's do this. And then I'm in there with someone like Joe Coffey that fucking Larry gets my bastard head off. You know, although in saying that though, it's funny. Like me and Joe used to train together, just in the gym, and we always kind of went. And he, bless him, he always went like, "I'd put a move over. I'd take a bump for you." And it's like, oh man, how ridiculous would that be? And the only way we could ever do that is if you did that and then fucking murdered me straight after it. I'd have to let you like just fucking go for it. I deserve this. But bless it, man. No interest. I think the only spot I ever wanted to do it, and at one point I asked Dallas this every single year, is I wanted to do the Jerry the King Lawler spot. I wanted to be, and I'm number 28, Billy Kirkwood. Yeah. Like, and I remember like there's a couple of different scenarios, like getting in the ring and the wrestler stopping and going like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get out!" Quite right. Over the rope. Like I try to sneak it, or I thought somebody like Wolfgang or something doing that would be like pretty fucking funny, you know, or one of the big guys just being like, "I'll road you out." Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking, lads. Or something like that.
That'd be a good script to go that one, like.
Yeah. I mean, I've pitched it every fucking year, man. Every fucking year, and I'll try again.
Yes, keep trying.
I'll try again. But oh god, that'd be fucking.
I'll clip this for you, Billy, and I'll tag ICW and make sure that you're going to do it for this one.
Oh, don't do that! You're giving it away, man. You're giving it away. In case we do it, I'd love it though, man. Okay. How ridiculous. How ridiculous would that be? I could bring in Cunto the Wonder Horse and I could swing him around. With Cunto the Wonder Horse.
It'd just be the case when your name comes up. Oh, headphones off, right? No bother. I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, I don't even make it to the ring. Just out. No, sorry, I don't know what we're. And then right at the end, I'm one of the last survivors. And that's how I'm going to win the ICW.
That's it, mate. Brilliant.
Well, okay. Think of anything more horrid, man.
We're getting you back on it, like that with the title.
It's like I briefly had this thing, and it was the Monia Cunt Championship. It was for non-wrestling personalities could win it, and anyone could win it, like fans could win it and stuff like that. And it was actually me kind of taking the piss. And again, if nothing else, I'll take the piss out of myself before I'll take the piss out of anyone else. And it was me actually taking the piss out of these type of championships, like even like R-Truth doing these things. Like, anybody can win this. I think like me and Sean McLaughlin, the referee, it went back and forth to us. Simon won it. One of the ringside crew won it. A guy at the radio station that I do stuff at, he won it at one point. I think one of my kids won it. It was just, like kept going for ages, and we were. I think Dallas had even marked up a plan. Dallas at one point had even marked up, and it was all like pre-show stuff. Like it would never be part of the show. It was literally just a bit for the fans live. And I think Dallas had even worked out something like we were going to do like Fear and Loathing or something. Or maybe Simon was going to win it. I wanted Simon to win it at Fear and Loathing. That's what it was. I was going to put him over on the big stage. But oh fuck, we're not having one this year. But never mind. I just thought the idea of us opening the show and me challenging him to a match there and then. Like Simon technically eliminated me from the pre-show non-workers square go, which consisted of me, him, and a crew member from ringside. So if Simon's watching anywhere, I've put you over plenty, my man. I've put you over plenty. I'm just getting started.
Cool. Going back to your comedy, right? So you've toured the world. You've not just obviously done it in Scotland. You've toured with Mick Foley as well. You support him as well. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So, kind of a double question here, but what was the best or your favourite venue of gig that you've done, and also what was it like having supporting Foley? What was it that he like? Did he help you out? Because he is a funny man. People don't actually understand that he is actually a funny dude.
Very funny. And my favourite venue working with Mick, or just my favourite venue of all time?
Just in general.
Oh, do you know, I've got to do some amazing places. I've got to do the Hydro. I've got to do like the Edinburgh Playhouse. and the Kings and loads of places, the Soho Theatre in London and stuff over in the States, like Yuck Yucks in Canada. But hands down, I'm afraid to say, my favourite is still, not afraid to say, my favourite is still the Stand Comedy Club in Glasgow, which is hands down the best comedy venue in the world. And you get comedians that come from all over the world. It's Stand Comedy Club, Saturday night, opening the show, just the best. It's just a level of just I miss it so much. It's just it's no necessarily being a Glaswegian audience. It's just it's still the addiction of comedy, man. It's still like, see, when it all comes together, it's just incredible. 200 people all laughing together and just having a good time. They can forget about their worries for 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's still just a perfect. So for me, it's the Stand. Right after there, one of my favorites of all time would probably be the O2 EBC in Glasgow. I got to do the Academy, I should say. I remember we did a gig for the Cluther Trust. I don't know. I mean, you'll know this, but there was the Cluther tragedy that happened here about 7-8 years ago, and we did a big charity gig after that. And again, it was just the warmth that was in the room on that night, and it was amazing. There's likes of the Empire in Belfast, which is an incredible venue as well, where lots of comedians go to die. Lots of comedians go to die, and I remember hearing, because I was headlining, and they're going like, right, you're doing 40 minutes, and part of me was thinking of, and the first guy that was on it was like, oh my god, that did not go well. That did not go well for him. It's like, have I got a 40-minute death coming here in the middle of fucking Belfast? And it just was an amazing night. I remember I had to piss in a pint glass backstage because there was no toilets. Fucking reason. And you know that way you've had way too much to drink during the day, and you're like, I'm gonna fill this glass. I'm gonna fill this glass. So yeah, there's loads of venues. I think I'm always an audience guy. But I would say the Stand. In terms of working with Mick, I mean, the first place I got to do that was Studio. I always get the name of this place wrong. I always say Studio 13, but I think I've got it wrong, in Glasgow, which is now the Glee Club. And it was at the time home to ICW and Highlight Comedy Club. That's where they used to perform shows. And Mick was great. I was so nervous. Like, I didn't actually think about it because it was my friend Chris Brooker who is involved with Future Shock Wrestling, and he's really the architect of the spoken word kind of genre for wrestlers. I mean, he was the one that kickstarted it all. He was the innovator of that. Regardless of other people that have done it since, I'm not taking anything away from that. He started it and doesn't get enough credit for doing that. He was the one that reached out to Mick Foley, who said he wanted to do stand-up, and he went, I will bring you here and I will give you the opportunity to do stand-up across the UK. And he came to Glasgow and he said, would you support him? That'd be great. I went, well, I'd fucking love to. Chris compared the gig, and I remember that afternoon I arrived, and I hadn't really thought about it. I hadn't really thought much about, Mick Foley's on the show. Wasn't sure if I was going to have any interactions with him. It was probably my first interaction with like a big WWE star, you know. And I'm a huge Mick Foley fan. Always have been, always will. And then there was somebody came up and went, right, Mick's in the dressing room. He wants to talk to you. And I remember on that walk to the dressing room, my arse falling out. Like, oh my God! Like I'm about to meet Mick Foley. I don't know where this is going. And it was cool. He was such a down to earth guy. We started talking about roller coasters almost straight away, because I've got a roller coaster tattoo with a Hulk tattoo, Hulk roller coaster on my arm, and that was it. And he said, "Listen, I want you to be as part of a sketch. I'm going to do a wee thing in the middle of it. I need you to be, I think it was Hurricane Helms. No, hang on, was it Hurricane Helms? Oh, something like, oh God, that's terrible, Mick. You've written so much since. Something like, it was basically evolving jizz. There's no too much about it. It's basically evolving jizz. Do you know, I think the video's online somewhere. Somebody's filmed it. I think the video's online somewhere. And he was just such a solid dude and said nothing but nice things. And then I think I supported him a bunch of other times. I supported him whenever he played in Glasgow. Did the Time Theatre in Newcastle, where I took the Mandible Claw.
Nice.
I took the Mandible Claw. I don't need to do that again. I will lie, I think that's my bumping days over. That is my bumping days over. But yeah, and then to see him when he did his stand-up special on the WWE Network, which I think he filmed at Full Sail or something, didn't he? Something like that. Man, it was a lot of pride, and I hope Mick does more of that. I really, really hope he does more of that and more online shows. I hope they find a way to embrace that. I don't get why Mick Foley doesn't do a podcast every week through their podcast. And I don't get it. Give them the money, let them do it. But then I think that about a lot of them. Oh yeah, there might be a reason for that. Well, we don't. If you're gonna run it, if you're gonna, well, you know, if you're gonna, I don't know if it goes through the WWE books. I don't want to get involved in all that. I don't. A lot of that in the papers recently, and you know why I don't think I'm ever going to get hired for WWE. It's like, well, one likes to keep one's options open just in case. Every other commentator on the planet like gets fucking mumps or something, and he needs somebody, and I go, fuck it, Kirkwood then. Jesus Christ. Just sorry, I don't speak bagpipes. Could you slow it down?
So as you said, you've performed everywhere. So what is a tougher crowd, the ICW crowd or the world famous Edinburgh Fringe?
Oh God.
I'll let you put the stand up in there as well.
Yeah, I would say God. I mean, well, they kind of get you ready for both. Like I have done every type of shiter of a gig you could possibly do, right? Every tough crowd, and it's like it's like footballing, man. It's like the more you work at it, the better you get, or the more diverse you get to get. So if you go into a cold crowd, like you've got to try and find a way to warm them up.
Yeah.
Or so it's hard. I mean, like an ICW crowd. Well, I do what I get to do at the start of the show and warm them up. So if I wasn't good at that, then I don't think I'd be much use to the company in that role. And don't get me wrong, I have done that. I remember us doing a show in London, and it's not going to the London crowd, but for some reason before this show started, it wasn't London. Well, it was a London crowd, and then there was another one just before we went out for London. I don't know what it was, but they were so quiet. They weren't an ICW crowd yet.
Yeah,
they were about to be, but they weren't yet. And I had to go, and I can't remember, but it was like stone cold fucking silence. And I always remember I think it was Kaylee Ray walking up and going, they are quiet. They are quiet. This is going to be hard to get these guys going. And me going, have I ever let you down? Don't worry about it. But in my head going, they are fucking quiet though, man. They are fucking quiet. And then going out and just bang, and people going, what the fuck? I remember there was guys there from Download, and they went, this guy, like turned them from that to that, but they just needed somebody to pull, just to let them know, hey, let rip, it's fine.
Aye.
You know, that's all they needed. So that's a different example. Then I remember we did a gig in, I want to say Bournemouth, right? And they were stone bastard cold, not getting into fucking anything. Simon Cassidy walks out. You normally get a cheer. He walked out to fucking silence. And I remember thinking,
think it's English there, Billy.
Not at all.
Oh,
Birmingham.
See, we've got 2 in 1 here. You could have went with that, you know.
Sorry, man. Sorry, but we got Birmingham crowds, Manchester crowds, Liverpool crowds, London crowds. Fucking all of me. I consider it as a stand-up, man. It's just people are there for a good time. It's yin and yang. But the guys from Bournemouth, I don't know what the fuck it was. And I always remember Simon going, when I introduced you, you marched to the ring and you looked pissed off. I was like, what's that? And it's like literally they play a bit of music. I just strode dead to the ring, give me that mic, and then literally started lambasting them and go, get into this shit. We didn't fucking break into your house and start doing a wrestling show. You fucking came here, you cheer and you clap and you have a fucking good time. What the fuck is this during sex? Do you just like put a sheet over and poke a hole and that's it? Fucking, but I think that's kind of what they needed. I think it was kind of like, all right, so we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
We're allowed to just let rip. You know, it's like on the. I think I was saying it's like being on the fucking telly. You don't see wrestling crowds sitting there going, "Well, that was good." You know, it's like go for it. We've got, and the thing is, you can tell because like we've got fucking Grado, way. We've got the Stevie Boy, way. We've got, and like they just started coming up and up and up, and that's what that job is for warm up. You know, that's it. So they could be, and doing that with 300 wrestling fans can be quite hard, I guess. But it's the same. It's the same with a comedy crowd, man. Sometimes you can get like, but then I think wrestling fans are a little more freer and a little more liberal. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can get a comedy crowd that are just like, I hate you because you exist. Like, you know, because you like this. Or even worse, they're like, no, I've come here to see someone else. I'm not come here to see you. Who the fuck are you? Like,
or they come purposely just to fucking heckle you.
Oh no, nobody does that. That's a myth. Yeah. Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Who does? Stuart does.
Hecklers come from one or two places. They come from either someone that is so pissed they've completely lost track. They just completely, they don't know where they are, or they think they're being involved with the show. If someone says something hateful, right? That's them being a dick. They're not heckling. That's them being a dick. And you deal with that in your own way. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I've managed to shoot people down. It's like it's old Roddy Piper like, now, come on, I am Godzilla, you're Japan. This is not a good idea. Nice, sweetheart, behave yourself. I don't have the time to spend on you. Your parents clearly didn't. So, you know, and 9 times out of 10, it's probably just like, I mean, if you get someone to, oh, you're not funny, well, fuck off then. Yeah, everyone else seems to be enjoying themselves, so you just sound like a dick. And the thing is, if someone is laughing and enjoying, and then someone so nice to go, you're not funny, they kind of go, oh, he is. You know, oh, she is. And then that person is in the middle of 200 other people that are going to go, what's your fucking... And it can turn nasty. So half the time you're almost like, you know, let's get you out of the problem situation you found yourself in. And even if it is like, if someone's like a real dick in the audience, get them out because they're not in the right, they're not where they should be. So, and so I've never taken it personally. And don't get me wrong, I've been threatened with physical violence. I've been, you know, all manner of things. And it's always quite funny if someone threatens, I'll kick your cunt in. The stock line I've used over the years is, now, here, the movie in your head is, you're going to come up here, one punch, I'm not going to fight back, I'm going to go down and everyone's going to cheer. But that's not how real fights go.
No.
So maybe you just need to settle down before I knock you the fuck out. Because it's like, I'm up here with like an electrified baton and weapons. I will get to you before you get to me. You know, the only thing you're going to be fighting is diabetes, you fat cunt. Sit down. And I get to tell you this, I'm a lot more braggadocious and big and huge on stage than I am in real life. I'm a squeaky wee mouse in real life. But it's quite, and 9 times I think people will go, well, he's quite confident, I might leave it. You know? Or you're just drawing attention to them long enough that a bouncer comes and huggles them. That guy's waiting for you outside. I'll go out the back way. I'll go out the back way. Can somebody walk me to my car? Can somebody walk me to my car? So that's, I would say it's a crowd is a crowd, man. I wouldn't say wrestling crowds can be they're different. They're very, very different. I sometimes I don't understand why. I mean, WWE have hype guys, but then WWE is like over with most wrestling fans. You know, like ICW. The reason that they would use me in the tours in that role, and it's very, very. I mean, Mark Dallas is the king when it comes to stuff like this, recognizing it, but using me in that role just to kind of introduce everyone and just kind of getting it going, it just was enough. And also I think folk would be like, because I mean there were TV tapings we did on the road, they weren't like house shows. Even introducing the fact that I was like, you guys are all going to be on TV, we're going to make something here tonight. And that was always my attitude over it, like we are going to make something right now, you know, and let's fucking go for it and just make it the greatest time. So
I think, sorry to interrupt, I think as well it'd be rude not to mention her as Jen, because you and Jen have got a brilliant, like at the start of shows and that, you two are just on the stage, brilliant together, those two. And Jen obviously does her own thing as well, but
Yeah.
you know, it's class to see. You must have a good relationship with her in regards to.
I love Jen to bits. There's been so many of the female. I mean, we didn't really have female presenters when we first started, and I know what the entertainment industry can be like, and I with my experience was more than happy to help work with people like Veronica. I mean, I think the fact that she came on leaps and bounds, as did Molly Spartan when she started. I mean, she was in, and I like that. I like that collaborative. It's almost like improv. It's like we're in this together. Let's make this work. And Jen, who is hugely talented, she's hugely talented. She doesn't know how talented she is. It's infuriating. But I love her. I absolutely love her to bits. She is such a good laugh. And bless it, she's so nervous. Right, what am I saying? Well, what am I saying? And it would even get to the point of going, right, okay, I'm going to say this, then you do that. But we're also going to do something mad. So you come out with your shoes in your hand like you're pissed, like before the show. And and even turning that into a little thing, you know, like a little pre-show thing. So it kind of relaxes because folk are laughing and they're kind of into it. And it's like, all right, here we go. And it just kind of relaxes, which is how you do it, which is how when I coach people in like promo stuff or public speaking and what, it's all about just getting comfortable in your space. And I love her and Veronica to bits. I used to love doing Worldwide with Veronica. We used to have such a fucking laugh. She's hugely talented, but Jen is and she's always getting signed up with fucking Cultaholic and stuff like that. Put in a word, Jen, put in a word. I can do a top 10 list of top 10 times you nearly gave a fuck about Alberto Del Rio. I can do that.
Tag him in that one.
That's it. That's a shame because I really liked Alberto Del Rio in the ring. I didn't like Alberto Patron. Is that
El Patreon?
Yeah,
El Patreon.
I don't like that as much. Yeah. But that's it. I didn't say that. I really like what culture do. Every day I watch those videos. Every fucking day. But yeah, Jen is just I think. I mean, it's been a while since obviously we got to do anything together. I think the last thing we did was an ICW lockdown, and she's doing her own thing online and stuff just now. But I hope when this all gets to the other end, hey, I think I would love Jen to have a seat at the commentary booth. I think she could do it.
Yeah.
I think her energy and her enthusiasm, and she knows her shit.
Oh, you've seen her backstage interviews and that. She's brilliant at them. Yeah,
Jen knows her stuff, and she knows wrestling as well. And I would love to. I'd love to get to work with her more. I think so. And we do have a good laugh at it. When we're allowed to, we have a good laugh at the start of the show.
Awesome. So going back to the commentary side of things, JR has famously said that he doesn't want to know anything about the matches he's calling to give it a more real feeling when he announces them. Do you prepare, or do you like to know that?
I don't like to know too much what's going on in the match. I will check with the guys, as I'm sure JR does. Is there anything I need to know? You know, is there anything I need to know? Just in case, you know, it's like in case you have to go and speak to I can be a little. I just want it to look as good as it can. Like if I know something's coming up, like I will go out my way to say to the camera guys, right? Can you make sure you get this?
Yeah.
Like we really need to get that, and the camera guys at ICW are premier, like just incredible. Alistair Gervin, who's usually our guy down on the floor, and Aaron Carell that does all the vision mixing, is the man that makes ICW look as good as it does, and of course that goes to all the production crew, you know, Rudo and Scott and Dallas and Duncan, all those guys. So they make the job easy, but I don't like to know too much. It's like if don't tell me too much about the match. Is there anything you need, and I'll fill in the color. But the thing is, it's not Fox excitement I got, so I can completely understand what Mr. Ross is saying. It's not Fox. I'm not making it up. Like, I am genuinely that fucking excited. I am genuinely that fucking excited. And oh, who's this? Oh, it's Moriarty. Do you want to come and say hello very quickly? You want to come and say hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Right, that's you. You're so smug. You're so smug. Get out. I'm gonna get you fixed. I don't want any grand wins. So I forget what I was saying. It's not false excitement. It really lends to it. I mean, I will speak with people as to anything we need to know. It might even be just tone.
Yeah.
It might even be just tone of what they're wanting to do, and letting the rest. Like Grado was always really good for that. Like he might give you like a couple of points. It's like, we're going to do this, or we're going to, just give you something. Drew, the architect of just the reinvention of British wrestling and how folk are doing it. I believe he would always give you loads of stuff. I mean, he would seek you out, which is mental. When you think of someone that caliber, that high caliber, that will seek you out as a commentator to go, this. Mm-hmm. Or he will even go, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And you're like, going to be like, you are stunning. I mean, you are.
Yes.
You are stunning. I feel myself.
I have to agree, baby. And I'll go back to that Raw intro. He was just, oh my God, that was amazing. That.
I'd pump him.
Oh, I would 100%.
Well, no, actually, I'll rephrase.
He pumped you.
I was about to say, I'll rephrase that. Yeah, he's the one doing it. And do you know something? When he came back to ICW, it was such it's a period I look back at, and just like everyone went, right, everybody, just their game got elevated, and he worked with everyone. So he's a prime example of that. But I think Mr. Ross, who I don't know, I've never had any dealings with at all. Do you know, people give him a hard time in AEW, and I still think he's doing great work. I don't see the fucking issue at all. People are twats. People are.
Everyone just wants to be negative.
Yeah, well, people are more likely to say something negative than they're good in this day and age, do you know? Yeah. And I think Jim is still very much the best at what he does. Unique, certainly still the most unique.
Yeah.
And I think, although that's not taking anything away, these guys in the independent circuit over in America who I think are phenomenal. The guy that does GCW, I think it's great. He does it on his own, which I love. I quite enjoy doing wrestling commentary on my own as well, so I can understand that. But no, yeah, to answer your question, I don't like to know the finish. I don't like to know too much. I like to be taken by surprise. But I do go, is there anything I need to know? Anything you don't want me to say? Have I given like a name to a move you don't like, or does it have another name, or anything? Do you want to tell me something about your training? Do you have an injury? Is there anything I need to know? And that comes straight from the likes of Mr. Eagle, who, when he was on commentary in NXT, I remember him telling me, like, he would go to guys and go, so tell me a little bit about yourself, son. And some of these people he had next to no dealings with, or he'd been coaching from day to day. And in his own way, I think that was coaching, going, tell me about yourself, tell me about your match. And if they went, I like video games, I think it might have been I mean, maybe need to take a wee look at that, don't you? So the only thing I would ever say to anyone is, like, you could ask me what I'm going to do for stand-up that night, and I can be very improvisational, but I could probably give you a vague idea of what I'm going to be punching at. Anyway, I mean, I might take left field, I don't know, but I could tell you what I'm thinking and what the mood is and what I'm going for. I don't get why wrestlers don't do that. And I think in this day and age, if anyone was watching, hey, listen, I'm just an arsehole comedian that's got lucky and has got a commentary gig, right? I'll make that clear, but I would fail to prepare to fail.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, have an idea of what you're going to do. It will improve your work immensely in that ring. And listen. If there's a promoter asking you to do something, fucking do it. But make sure you have your ideas so they can do that. You work that muscle in your brain, you'll be able to fucking do that, man. You'll be able to do that.
Perfect. So all listeners on that know that I'm a massive ICW fan, have been for many, many years. But ICW had so many iconic moments. So to give examples for people that haven't really seen it, you've had like Triple H arriving in Cardiff along with Pete Dunne. That was unbelievable. We've just mentioned Drew McIntyre's return after being in WWE. Grado winning the ICW title at Fear and Loathing. Even Jack Victor and Bobby have made an appearance within ICW. But what would you say is your favourite moment that you've called whether it be a moment or a match or something, that just what has been your iconic part of being ICW commentator?
Oh man, there is too many. There is too many. There is too many. I don't think I could say there is a moment. I think there's moments, but I don't think I could turn around and say a singular moment. Really generally, like I can think all the way back throughout history. I remember the Bucky Boys winning the ICW tag team titles, going all the way back then. The formation of the Filthy Generation. God, there is so many. Oh God, fuck, man. Jeff Jarrett entering the Square Go. That was still surreal.
Number 29, Guido's face. How good was that?
That's just surreal. Imagine he'd won it.
I know.
Imagine he'd won it. Mick Foley dropping the F-bomb in front of 4,000 fans at the SECC. I think, do you know, for me, actually, I remember the show at the Barrowlands and opening the show, sitting down at commentary to open that show, and I think we were live on pay-per-view as well. And I remember thinking that was a huge thing and being so proud of everyone. I mean, the fans and all the hard work everyone had put in, being so proud of everyone that we had got to that point. And the same with the SECC. It was always that was always my moments, like the SECC, the Hydro, just being proud of all the hard work and sacrifice that everyone had put in to be there. I mean, Grado winning the title was huge because it felt like it was a year's worth of work, a year's worth of planning and sacrifice that had gone into that. So, God, man, I really, and you know, and I'm a big believer in.
Really, when it was well, it was unbelievable. And it was just so cool. It worked so massively well. Yeah, and
I just a big reset. I always kind of reset with every single show because it's like, it's the same with gigs, man. Like, I only feel good or bad about a gig until 11 o'clock the next morning. So if you're in a shite gig, 11 o'clock the next morning, you're like, well, fuck it. That was last night. If you feel really good about the gig, you don't get cocky and you go, well, that was last night. Now on to the next one. And I'm a little like that with ICW, which is not a good thing because I think sometimes I fail to enjoy the moment because I'm always thinking, you know, ahead, particularly on a big show. Like we're out there on commentary for 4 hours, you know. So somebody wins a title or has a big moment, they go backstage and they celebrate. I'm already on to the next match. So it's, you know, so it's kind of hard for us. I think going on tour as well was huge. I think the first show outside of Scotland, those were big shows. Like I remember going to Newcastle, and the Newcastle Square Go, I always remember being a particular favourite. So I'm afraid I don't really have an answer. I think it's
a good answer, though. It's a good answer. Newcastle ones of what I've seen look like they're just as good as with what they're like in Scotland.
Yeah, I actually kind of hope that maybe when we get to the other end of this, maybe we'll make like a yearly pay-per-view or something in somewhere like Newcastle. I think that would be immense, man. Yeah, I think that would be immense. But by then we'll all be vaccinated up and we'll all be fucking 80. I don't know. So if Jim Ross can do it in his late 60s, I'll have a go. With my colostomy bag.
So as you mentioned there, obviously we're still in the middle of a pandemic. But you've tailored how you do things to the online world. So what is it like doing your comedy things through Zoom? And is it something that I know obviously we spoke about this beforehand, but is it something that you'd like to do going forward? Or is it like, as soon as it's gone, it's gone?
I think nothing's going to be the same. Nothing is going to be like it was for a good long time, if ever. I think it's just a big change, man. It's like the invention of colour TV. I don't think anything's ever going to... No one's ever turning around and going, you know, we shouldn't make TV in black and white. Shut the fuck up. I don't think anyone's ever saying that. I was quite lucky going into this because I have a breakfast radio show that I do every day. So I've managed to be able to remain creative and stay, you know, match fit, kind of. I mean, nothing beats doing a gig, but no, we do the Zoom gigs, which have ranged from awesome to fucking dreadful. And I think, I mean, obviously I do broadcast and a bunch of other things. I think Yeah, I think they're going to be around for a while, man. I'll be honest. I think they'll end up being a hybrid. Like you'll end up doing gigs from like a comedy club, where it'll be like hosting it'll be like hosting Children in Need at the same time as well. You'll be like, and then we'll go live to Stuart, and who's that in Edinburgh? And I'll be, it'll come out, Stuart going, hey, how you doing? I'm here with my wife, and that'll be how it is. But there'll be folk in the venue, and it'll be fun, man. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Or it'll be like a Thunderdome. You'll be on the stage and just be loads of screens round you and that everyone's in their house.
Yeah. I genuinely look at the Thunderdome and I go, fuck, that's what it's going to be like. That's what it's going to be like. Like, honestly, they'll be like, it'd be more like NXT. I think there'll be like people there who want that live experience, but there'll be people who want to watch it at home as well. And I think that's what it's going to be like. Honestly, I get the feeling I'm right on this one. Well. I just get the feeling.
I hope you're not.
I'd like to be wrong. Yeah. I'd like to be wrong, but you know something, man? See if it means I'll take 50 good folk in a club and another 50 watching TV than nothing.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I've done drive-in comedy gigs, and they've been great, better than any business doing it. Did a couple of garden ones. People are still keen for it. So as long as they're keen for it, I'll keep writing jokes about when my father-in-law accidentally pegging himself on a fence, and right in, man. Like he was wearing loose shorts and he bent down to pick up a hammer and it went in. I mean, it went right up. It broke the seal, went right up, and because the noise he made, the tone changes. He lifted himself off because I think he was trying to assess whether or not he liked it.
Stayed there, went back, and then up.
But he looked me in the eye. I was like, what if I'm now a part of his first, I assume, penetrative experience? What if he needs me there? What if he needs me there on every Saturday? It's like, can Billy come round for 10 minutes? Jesus Christ. All right, okay. Just have to sit there. You done?
Oh,
Eye contact when that happened. Oh, no.
I was not. We didn't really talk about it, but I'm talking.
Yeah, you are. He's not.
I am. And to be fair, it wasn't him, it was somebody else. So. I wouldn't say exactly who it is. I should probably shift it to him like a made-up uncle or something. That's all I'll do. That's a good idea. See, that's part of the process you saw just happening there.
I did.
Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank. It was Uncle Frank. And I know for a fact there would just be people going, this cunt doesn't have an Uncle Frank. This guy doesn't have an Uncle Frank, you can tell.
He's your father-in-law, eh?
No.
Oh, well, that's it, really.
I have to say one thing. So what we've done as well, we put a tweet out, see if any of our fans, followers wanted to ask you any questions.
Nikon.
And we've had a couple, by the way.
All right, okay.
We've had more than a couple, in fact, to be fair. Sean Wright and Westy have asked a question that's kind of been covered.
Westy!
So Westy's going to ask you as well, though, what's the funniest wrestling match you've ever seen?
Right. Oh, well, that's a hard one. I'll tell you for why. I've only 2 or 3 times caught the giggles in the middle of a wrestling match. Right. And there is nothing worse in this world. I remember me and Grange pure got the giggles in the middle of a match, and we were just like, we were apologizing because we knew we weren't going to get a chance to do it again. We were like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, like really bad. I don't even remember what the match was. That's how bad we caught the giggles. And it was stupid. And it was some pure stupid. And I'm sure there was a match just not that long ago that me and Jamie, I started off with, well, he fucked it last week. And then just kept going. And it was just like, when then Jamie let go with a wee laugh. And then I let go with a wee laugh. And then it was like, oh, fuck, we're going to have to do this again. We're going to have to do this again. There's nothing worse in this world. Funniest wrestling match. Do you know, Grado and Cole always had really amazing chemistry, man, and some really, really funny stuff. Funniest wrestling match I've ever seen. God, would it be an ICW? That's a hard one, man. Yeah, that's my wife shouting at her wives. God.
At least she's not an arsehole.
For everyone who's not watching the YouTube, he said she is.
Lockdown's been long, mate. I don't have an answer.
Finger Poke of Doom. We'll go with that.
What's that, mate?
Finger Poke of Doom in WCW.
Oh, right. You mean in the world?
I would
you can
say
pick
that.
the world,
right.
yeah.
Oh, God, right. Do you know, I think some of the Dragon Gate multi-man matches, where particularly the one with the thumb up the bum, where they did like the train, and it was like just
bit of a theme coming here, isn't there, Billy?
Just in listen, up the arse is funny. Whatever.
That's Drew, Dragon Gate, and now your father-in-law.
But it was like, I remember it was something like someone, was it Steve Carino or something, but it was like, in this conga line is Tommaso Ciampa, Justin Thunder Liger, Tommy End, and it's just a big line of all them all getting their thumb stuck in the ring. And I know it'd be something like Jim Cornette would fucking hate, but I remember roaring with laughter. Thinking that is fucking hilarious. God, that'd probably be it, really. Do you know, I don't really watch wrestling for that, although I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of Shikara, and I loved the fact that they had a real comic book sense of fun about the wrestling, and you know, it's different shades of the rainbow, different colors. It needs to be something a little different. You need to get a little bit of everything. So that's always what I've been like in my wrestling tastes, and I think Shikara always did it quite well. I want to do my own wrestling show. I was due to do it in 2021. Can't happen now. But it was going to be effectively, see when they did that Southwestern Championship Wrestling on WWE, whatever it was. We got that right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I did go bastard, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have that lost tape from 1993, and it was like this wrestling company, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. At the moment, it was called Big Fun Wrestling. And the idea would be that we were going to have a tournament, a tag team tournament, and it was going to be all these different teams. And we were going to have a Johnny Live and Davey Kicking, live and kicking. And they were going to have like the phone number, and they were going to come out to live and kicking teams. Like, and their finishing maneuver was called, we don't do duvets. Like, they were going to have the whole fucking thing in there. No, hang on. It was Trevor Live and Simon Kicking. So it was Trevor and Simon. And then we had the pacifist accountants, right? Who were going to, I love this idea. It was two skinny wee trainees that were going to come out and pick up the microphone and go, there's been a terrible mistake. We're actually real accountants. We're not wrestlers. And then they were going to get the shit kicked out of them for most of the match, but somehow win. And then the next round be like fucking amazing, but get beaten. There was the Dandies, which I wanted these guys coming out with huge flowery wigs, and the Workhouse Boy. They kicked his shit out off in a way. They snuffed up, and like on it, the Disco Viking. He was a time traveling Viking. Dr. Bastard, who was just an arsehole GP. And oh man, I can't even tell you about that gimmick because everyone's trying to talk me out of it. But I love that idea. What's that, mate?
No Harold, does it? The bastard GP.
No, thankfully not. Although I did think about it. I did think about him cutting a promo like IRS and going before. I've just been visiting your granny's house. You know, any more of that? And I'll whatever. You might want to cut that, but it's
staying in. We're not monetized yet. It's all good, Billy.
That's fine. And that was it, really. But sadly, I can't do it. It was going to be a lost tape. Like, they were going to be. What was my commentary name going to be? Because if I wasn't going to have to be backstage running the show, because I was going to bring in people from like the entertainment side to run it, and then so it'll be a real hybrid, a one-off show. And it was so funny that everyone that I told this to in the wrestling industry went, "Oh, I so want to do that. I so want to do that." Like, I wanted Lewis Girvin to be a fisherman and come out in waders, and a DCT wanted to be the Red Baron, and he was going to come out with like Biggles, come out with goggles and shit. Like, man, it went on for fucking ages. Joe Coffey wanted to be like a terrifying clown. And, exactly, and I was like, fucking hell. Kelly Ray had ideas, and Viper had ideas. They were the Disney give a fuck princesses, and all that stuff, man. And it was going to be wild, but who knows when that bad boy is going to happen.
Soon. But, we'll be there. We'll be there.
Oh, brilliant. Cool. Well, that's 2 tickets sold. Cool. That'll just recoup the massive losses that are going to be on that show. But that's it, really. I forget what your question was.
You answered it. Dragon Gate. You answered it.
Did I? Right. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So, Shu, anything else you want to ask, pal?
No, I think I've got that many things in my head. We'll need to get back on, Billy, because we've got that many things going on in my head right now. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Cheers, Billy. Is there anything you want to plug, social media-wise, all that stuff?
Right, what can I plug? You can check me. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me home. I don't give a fuck.
You're not allowed social distancing.
Yeah, I need the attention when I start files. He says just putting a candle out. Let's see, at the moment there's Broadcast, which is an interview lifestyle positivity podcast. It's not just about big guys with beards. We interview people from music, creative worlds, MMA fighters, athletes, a little bit of everything. Check that out. That's at broadbeardoils.com. You can also Monday Night Improv, which is on the Stand Comedy Club's YouTube every Monday night at 9:30, and I'll be doing various Zoom gigs which are going to be open to the general public, so you can buy a ticket for that. And that's it, really. Yeah, just follow what I'm up to. I'm going to be here battling away, and of course, make sure to check out the good people at Insane Championship Wrestling.
Cheers, Billy. Thank you very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been good fun.
You take care of yourself, pal.
Cheers.
Enjoy this your day, mate. All right.
All right. Is that us done?
Yeah.
That's it. All done, mate.
There we go.
See you, buddy.
Like ships in the night. All right, boys. Listen, that was great fun, and I'll look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. All right.
See you, pal.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate your time, mate. Thank you.
Awesome.
Amazing.
You like that,
Funny
mate?
Than I thought. Mate, I'm just happy as Larry now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's put a smile on the face for all day, hasn't it, really?
100%, mate. That was absolutely superb. Billy is such a funny man, though. He's such
I really hope we can get him on, especially when things, start to open up a bit more.
If we could sit down one, and that would be absolutely superb with him, because he just genuinely puts a smile on everyone's face, and that's something that you need them right now, because I think, I can't speak highly enough of him. Absolutely superb.
No, definitely not. And I'd like to apologise to your wife.
I don't. I never do.
See, make sure she listens to that bit, please, because I've apologised and you haven't, so that's all good.
We'll look at this. Once Billy goes, she just starts anyway.
So is there anything on social media you want to push, pal?
I want to talk about next week's guest, firstly.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Go for it, bud. Go for it.
So next week, I'm really excited about this because I'm a huge fan of what he does. We have got the king of the non-ring death match. We've got one and only Casanova Valentin. Anyone who's not seen his Vice documentary, I would totally recommend that you do that. I will put a link on for future before next week's show. But yeah, Cass he's a superb guy. He really is. And
yeah,
really,
I watched him this week because obviously you sent me the link, and you can see it's not a gimmick. It means a lot to him, and it's going to be good, obviously, to talk about why he ventured away from the independent scene to do this himself.
Yeah, and like I said before, I've been a huge fan of death matches for years. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but even if it's not, I still would recommend that you give it a listen and watch, because I think how Cass is going to be coming across is going to be very, very interesting. He's got a lot. He's a clever boy. He's a very, very clever boy, and I think that's going to be shown next week anyway, at least on our show. Definitely.
So now, do you want to plug?
Yeah. So for myself, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at slawson1417. That's at slawson1417. Follow ourselves on Twitter as well. That's at It's Our House Pod. It's Our House. You can see it above Fazza and just put pod at the end. We have got Instagram as well, which is I don't know if it's at or not, but it's Our House Podcast.
Yeah.
Why it's podcast, but it is, so it's all good. We'll give him a wee plug as well, seeing he's not here today, he's not feeling very well, but we've got Chris, so it's at PWCDs.
That's right.
Z. And our Facebook as well is at or whatever, it's Our House Pod.
Yep, and we'd also like to say a massive welcome and thank you to all our 140 odd subscribers we've got on YouTube. Welcome, and obviously we've got a lot more coming up. You can find us on YouTube
we're going to give this a big push. We're going to give it the push.
A massive push, slam it to the ground. Make sure that everyone knows we're here.
Right in the body.
Yeah. We're in the top 100 podcasts. That's insane. We've only been doing it for just over a month.
Yeah, that's
madness.
Yeah.
So give us a follow, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Download us on all your podcast platforms. If you could leave us a 5-star review, it really helps push the channel even more. You can follow me on Twitter at Faz's Thoughts, FAZZAS Thoughts. And as always, Mr. Lawson, it's been a pleasure. I love you very dearly, and I shall see you
good, man.
In the next one, buddy.
Next week. Guys, thank you very much for listening. All the best. Enjoy your week, and we will see you soon.